lifestyle, I don't do it for life.
Hi, I'm Jen.
Hi, and I'm Sasha, and you're listening to No Guide for This, a podcast where we talk about all things adulting and adulting with kids.
That is right. And y'all, today I am so thrilled to introduce our guest, Dr. Kendra Segura. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you for having me be a part of the bump, and thank you for having me be a guest on the first season of many more.
See, I mean, we
Let's
couldn't have
manifest
done
it.
Yeah, many more. And we
Yeah.
could not have done a first season without you because not only do we have the privilege of working with you on the bump, you are one of our medical experts that makes sure that all of our facts and information about healthcare are right.
Fact checker, y'all.
Yes.
She is a board certified OB-GYN. She's
Keep
got
that
Ask
quick.
Dr. Kendra, and we're going to get into all of that.
Yes. Yes,
Entrepreneur, Hype Hair LA,
That's right.
medical
Inglewood.
concierge. I mean, all of the things. And you're also a mom. You're a wife.
Love you, heart.
Yes.
Shout out.
Oh,
Yes, give the shout out.
giving all the shout outs to the little ones. And we've just got so many questions for you. We're going to get into all of the things today.
I'm excited. Let's get into it.
Yes. So
Right.
today we're going to kind of kick things off with a little bit of a fun icebreaker that we like to call Can't Make This Up. Sasha, what do we have lined up for today?
So we love to talk about things that we see on social, anything that's trending, especially in the parent department. But I want to talk about something that I saw Meghan Trainor, the singer. She posted something about her son and her son looking identical to the father. And so we have an expert, and I just want to know, do you think that's very common that boys tend to look like their father? Is it medical, like that mostly happens? Because I tell you, Meghan Trainor's son literally looks just like the dad.
Spitting image?
Of the dad.
Well, I do have an opinion on that. So Hart looks exactly like his father.
Okay.
But normally they say that it'll be the girl that looks like the dad and the son will
Really?
look like the mother. But the studies show, I guess, like back in the day or whatever, that the kids that survived and the men that stayed with families were more so in the families where the kids look just like the dad.
Ooh.
So it's kind of like maybe you do see that more often because in evolution, that would keep, this, hey, I want to leave, but okay, wait a minute. Splitting image. They didn't have DNA back then. So it's just like, okay, this is my kid. And so I really feel that is survival. You know what I mean? So that's
such an interesting take. Evolution as it is and how we adapt and change, and especially how things change in our environment. So that's really an interesting thing I never thought of.
It's hard to slap yourself, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like because my husband and my son look identical.
Wow.
That sounds like old school, like who needs Maury Povich when you just have evolution?
Yeah. And what about your sons, Jen?
Yeah, so
you have three.
I have three sons, and so they all
Boy,
look different.
mom.
I'm a
Boy,
boy mom.
mom.
Hold it down. But my oldest son looks like me.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Okay.
it really, really and truly, all three of my sons look like each other. They actually don't look exactly
They look very
like my husband or like me, but they all look like each other. So they
So
look
like
like
a
brothers.
mix
A mix.
between
They
a
all
mix.
got the same mix
Yeah,
blend
same DNA,
because
but
they are
it's
definitely siblings. You can tell it
It's
apart.
the recipe, like the ingredients, were the same, but maybe
Yeah.
we like put a little bit more of this, little dash of this,
Yeah.
little dash of that, and then they came out
Right.
different. But you know what? Hold on. But Dr. Kendra, I've heard a slightly different twist on what you said about
Okay.
evolution. I
Okay.
heard, and this is maybe the messy version of it,
Okay.
but I heard that the reason that kids come out looking like the dad is so that the dad knows that it's theirs.
Right.
Well, that's-
and then that increases
yeah.
the chances of him taking care of the child.
Well, whatever it
So-
takes.
Wow.
So that
Again, I
and
didn't
so
think of that either.
So
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
evolution where kids
Yeah,
come out
so kinda same-
looking like
Yeah.
their dad.
Same.
Like, I look like
Yeah.
my father. Splitting image.
Yeah,
You see it?
same concept. No,
Wow.
I love that. So we also like to just start. First, tell us how old is Hart now?
He's 5.5.
Oh my
God, time
goodness.
flies.
Yeah.
You've got a 5-year-old, 5.5-year-old.
And we're married.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, he's in his hater phase of his father.
Is he?
Anytime Hobart tries to get close to me, no matter where he is,
Oh, he's very protective. His
he'll
mom.
run and get in between.
Mm-hmm.
So
You know?
adorable.
And then he's into like how babies are made.
Mm-hmm.
He's like,
Oh, he's
how
caught up
are
quick.
babies made? And I was like, the stork.
And this
He's like,
comes
well, how
down in
saying
an
that?
umbrella.
Are
like,
we still saying?
Are we saying the stork? But that's
You're
funny
like, I'm not
coming from
ready
an
to have.
OB-GYN. So you're like, he's like, well, what is your job, mom? If
Yeah.
it comes from the stork.
yeah.
Yeah,
But
he
you're like, I'm
knows how
not
to do
ready
a
to have that
C-section.
conversation.
You know, he watches all these videos. We have to be careful what they're watching.
Yeah.
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 Because the minute you take your eyes off what they're doing, I caught heart watching a game. I don't know if you guys see it on YouTube, but it's like in a lot of commercials. Like,
Mm.
you know, if you get a lot of advertisement on like YouTube or
Mhm.
something. And the girl had a badookadunk.
Oh.
And his job was to race and eat all this candy. And her badookadunk got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Stop it.
So I'm looking like, what? I said, oh no, you
This is not a child-friendly game.
We got to do kids YouTube.
Yes.
Like, I mean,
Yes.
what are you watching?
Yes.
Mhm.
You know, so we really got to watch that
Yeah.
because that's going to affect their
And they're getting
behavior.
really smart, the younger. Like kids now know how to open YouTube and open
Oh.
the selfie and do all the things on the phone that, I mean,
Use the
like how do you
computer.
you can't even read yet and
Yeah,
you know
can't
where to
even tie
find
your
YouTube.
shoes.
Right.
Hello.
Right.
Yeah. All the things. We're releasing the Future of Parenting report, and one of our themes is about connected parenting. So it's how technology brings, all this great innovation and creativity that our kids can tap into. But of course, there's the other side of it and the balance that's needed just to make sure that they're not consuming things that they shouldn't be, right? I looked over at my kid and he was watching some kind of like hero who was blowing up cars, but the music sounded like he was at a playground or like an amusement park.
So it was
but
a
then there
very
was
like graphic.
sort of a graphic, violent
Yeah.
video. So it's like you're listening cue, but then you also have to look and see because you never know.
Have you heard of
Right.
Sprunkies?
No, what is
No.
that?
Okay, so it's like it started as an app, like it's a beat machine,
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
and someone made characters for the beats.
Mm-hmm.
And if you listen to it, it sounds good. But it goes from normal mode to gory,
Yikes.
where you actually see them stabbing each other, shooting each other. So I had to get hard off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they see that and just think it's, oh, I'll shoot you.
Yeah.
Wow, what a balance.
It's amazing. Technology today and kids, it's like there's a lot of good, but we have to make sure that we monitor the bad
Right.
with it too, because
Mhm.
sometimes you get the good with the bad. So it's our
Yeah.
job to just stay on it.
Right. And
Yeah.
I'm all for our kids keeping up with technology. I'm excited about
Likewise.
AI.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like, I don't ever want Heart to fall behind. I kind of was like in that generation where we didn't have a computer, probably the last of the
Mhm.
Mohicans that didn't have a computer
Yeah.
growing up. And so I definitely experienced a lot of like computer anxiety.
Yeah.
Mm.
When
And
the technology
yeah.
came, and it came out quick. It was like computer and then phone
Yeah.
and this, and
And I
you had to
was
learn all of it very
intimidated.
quick.
And I just promised myself,
Yeah.
never fall behind. Like
Yeah.
keep up with the times and
Mhm.
always be flexible
Yes.
in life, at your job. Like I just
Yeah.
really like in life, period. And really don't get left behind, because if you're against AI, it's
Probably
sad
gonna
because
fall
it's going to be
behind
integrated into
No
our
matter
life.
what we
Integrated.
do,
It's already
in.
Into
Yeah,
everything.
right? And just like tapping into it, finding the balance between finding the good and the bad.
Yeah.
It also makes me think of like we like to ask people their assumptions on having before they had kids and what was
Okay.
something they assumed about parenting before they had children. And me, that's one of the things that I assume is like they're not going to have a phone. I'm not going to just give them the phone. But now that I see my friends with kids,
Yeah.
we're like, just here, take the phone. Stop
Right.
screaming at
Right.
us. And that was something that my friend group say is that
Yeah.
we assumed we were never going to give them any technology or phones and make sure that they, we were paying attention and spending time with them. But my assumption was very wrong. Sometimes you need that technology just to like,
So you can
please
hear
sit
yourself
still.
think.
can I be at restaurant without you
Yes.
screaming?
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
What about you? What was something that you assumed before having kids?
There are lots of things.
Yeah.
So, I have the benefit of being an older mom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, had Heart at 39.
Okay.
And I'm an OB-GYN. So there's no mystery about being pregnant,
Mhm.
about like the birthing process, because I have front row seat.
Yeah.
And all my friends, they got like kids that are getting ready to go to college and stuff. What I didn't expect and what nobody told me
Mm.
was that you really don't get that me time.
Yeah.
So when you're single for so long, and of
Mhm.
course I'm married, so Hobart's self-sufficient, but let's just say I had a tough like call at work.
Mhm.
So I come home the next day.
Yeah.
And it's important when you get off of work to kind of like gather yourself, gather
Yeah.
your thoughts, like
Yeah.
what the hell happened, or you don't decompress it.
Yeah.
And so when you have kids,
There's
that
no
part,
decompressing.
that part
Yeah.
that you just need that little bit of me time to, just
Some
gather your
quiet.
thoughts,
Mhm.
Yeah.
quiet the noise.
Mm-hmm.
you don't get that.
You come home and it's now on to the next.
It's your next job, your mommy job.
Okay.
That is a whole
And that doesn't
job.
get talked about a lot. Like, be prepared that you don't have that me time.
It really decreases.
Yeah.
And so I value like 30 minutes if
Yeah.
like the boys aren't home.
Yeah. Ooh, I love it.
that's
Ooh,
good
I love
30
it.
minutes. I'm like, okay, let me do this. Let me do that.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, people don't talk about that, but that is like, so I didn't have time before.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then now I don't get the recovery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to be up.
Yeah.
I have to go pick him up. And it's mostly on the women.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know that?
I do
like
feel
the,
that.
the
I
whole
do.
mental load that we carry.
And how much you take on and what you're thinking about at all times. I feel like that's one thing that women do naturally is we're not thinking of just the now. We're thinking of what happened later, what happened earlier, what we need to do in 10 minutes, in a year,
Mhm.
next week, all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I have
Yeah.
I have to know where like heart is, and
Yeah.
me being here, I have to know that he's accounted for.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. Like,
Oh, yeah.
no one told
Okay.
me that, okay, I have a partner here. We're legally married. The kid is basically his twin. And
And you're
but we're-
doing all
but we're
the.
in the house. You would think that he didn't have a father because he's just all over me.
Yeah.
You're doing most of it.
So, so Hobart gets to work out. He gets to answer
he gets
some
his
emails.
usual stuff that
But
doesn't-
I'm at home doing my medical reviewing, and he's
Working.
messing. He's like, pay attention to me.
Yeah.
Mm,
Now it's time for you to take care of me, Mom.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, these kids are advanced.
Yeah.
So he actually said that.
He's
He
really
closed my
aware of what's
computer.
happening.
He said, it's my turn now. And I was said,
Wow.
oh my God.
When they close your computer, because that happens to me often,
Yeah.
and they'll be like, "Mommy, you work too much."
Aw.
He told me that.
Oh,
They're
they
very
will. They
aware.
will tell you at
They're aware
5,
if you're
'cause we
there.
have one the same age. My youngest is just turned 5.
Okay.
Oh, they will close the computer. They will move it to the side.
They really are aware
do you
of like
handle
you're
that
physically
guilt,
here,
though?
but you're not
Damn.
mentally here. So
Yeah.
I need you mentally
Yes.
here.
Yeah. So
And they
That's
know
what
the
they're
difference.
learning.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, I don't have a perfect solution for it at all because the mommy guilt, it's just real.
Something we live with.
It's something that we live with. And listen, I'm not going to lie. My husband, my partner is very, very active. And as much as I can, if he leaves the house to take one to basketball practice, I'm like, how about you take all the boys?
Make it a boys' day.
I was like, they would love to get out of
That's
the
a
house.
good hack.
Yeah.
So that's my little tip. And he's like, yeah, whatever, Jen. And he'll do it. He'll give me that grace. But
God bless him.
but yeah, but when I will say this, when my child, my 5-year-old, closes my computer, I'm like, you know what? I will get to that Slack later.
Yeah. I
will-
look at
I
him.
will- I will send
that
Sasha
email later. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the
Right.
world will be okay because he
It's a priority shift. You gotta
Yeah.
know. Okay,
and
hold on.
I'll make those windows for sure. But
And that's what I'm learning. I think
Yeah.
now, 5 years in, I think this year I'm used to being a mother.
yeah,
Like
It-
I would
it takes
forget
that
about
many
him.
years?
So
it
yeah,
takes.
it took me a long time.
That's
Like,
scary.
I'm at work and the girls are like, okay, let's do dinner. I was like, what time?
What-
Like
yeah.
6:30. I'm like, okay, I'll be there.
That's your instinct.
And then
Yeah.
didn't realize that we had a nanny at that time that she's home with Hart and she was
Mhm.
doing 12-hour shifts.
Mm.
And then Hobart was late. So I had to stay. She left.
Mhm.
She was
Mhm.
already like, poor girl. And I
Yeah.
love you to this day.
Shout out
Shout out
to
to
the
the helpers, to the
caregivers.
carers.
Okay,
Yeah.
We need
Nicole,
y'all.
we love you.
Yes.
Santiago, okay. And so I felt so stupid because the dinner was really over by the time I got there. And I said, I
Mhm.
just completely forgot. I
Mm.
can't leave him here by himself. I had to wait till Hobart.
Yeah.
I feel so stupid.
Yeah.
I was so confident.
But
6:30.
not stupid though, because that's one of the things that we talk about a lot on this show. I mean, it's that whole transition from adulting to adulting with kids, and the whole like tension with our identity. Like you're still Kendra. You want to go out and have dinner.
Mhm.
Like, that is your first instinct to be like, yeah, like what time? What do we do? Like, what are
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
doing?
yeah.
And then you're like, oh wait, I have a mountain of other things and other humans
Mhm.
that need me as well. So it is that weird sort of like you have to like context shift
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
especially I've been doing it
Yes.
for so long.
You've been you for
Yeah.
longer than you've been
yes,
a mom.
Yeah.
Yes, opposite of my mother. My mother has been a mother longer than she's
Yeah. So
been
it takes
alive or whatever. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
takes a minute
But
to
but I'm in my groove. The 5th year,
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a child. The job that I do have, I love it. I made it up front that I'm a mom.
Mhm.
Like, can you work with me? They're like, yes,
Mhm.
because
All the
my
difference in the world.
field isn't mother friendly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The drop off.
Mhm.
The drop off.
'Cause you have to be there so early, but it's-
4 or something.
Yeah.
And then I have to be at work. And then the pickup, what,
Please don't be late.
2:30.
Please
Who's
don't be
finished?
late.
Who's finished work at 2:30?
Right.
Who finishes?
Yeah.
This world isn't made for mothers
Working
to
mothers.
work.
Working mothers.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize all the hassle that my
Mhm.
patients
Mhm.
or even my coworkers that
Yeah.
are OB-GYNs,
Yeah.
that like there's a whole world that happens before you step foot at work.
Yes.
Yeah.
So be kind to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, especially in the beginning, you know, when we're going through that wrestling phase, me and Hart, because he didn't want
Yeah.
to put on any clothes and I was
Mhm.
sweating. And then
Yeah.
and then I'm trying to make it to work on time.
Mhm.
And it's just like, wow, you know, I've been up since
You don't realize
4.
the whole day I've already
Exactly.
had before this day
Yes.
started.
Yes.
Yes.
And that's probably why, I mean, it took me a while to accept that, like, wait, I do want kids. And it was probably when the work from home lifestyle began, because then I thought, oh, now I could maybe juggle. But before working from home, I just never considered, like, crossed my mind to have children, because I thought, how would I can barely do this now.
Yeah.
And the commute and the cost of living and getting to
Mhm.
work and just all the goals and it's when you become a parent, it's a lot on the woman. Your career changes. Everything
is
changes
on
for
the
you.
woman.
The man goes back, no offense, guys, but your life kind of goes right back to normal. Like, you could go back to work, you could do your thing, and it's so much on a woman. So when you can find something that works, that
Yeah.
helps.
Yeah.
And that's probably what helped me transition into, okay, I think I could maybe do the parenting thing.
Yeah. That's
As long as
very
I'm at
real.
home.
No, it's very real. But
Yeah.
listen, most of the world has gone back to work now.
Oh, yeah. It's
believe-
very
I
privileged
think it
to
should
work
be
from home.
hybrid. I think it should be
I
hybrid.
agree. The
Don't
world
make-
should be hybrid.
Yeah, it should be your choice.
Kendra,
Yeah.
when I had my first 2 kids, you know, I was living in New York City, literally
Mhm.
on the subway, hoofing it to work, pregnant as I could be, sometimes get a seat, sometimes not get a seat on the subway. And I
Shame.
remember, like, but that was just life. I didn't know any
There was,
different.
I don't think
work
there
from
was a big
home
work from home
wasn't
culture
really a
before
thing.
COVID. COVID really made it
And-
a real thing.
Yeah.
And companies realized that, oh, wait, I don't need to see you here at 9:00 and all the way till 5. I can trust
some
that
companies, because I want to acknowledge, most
Yeah.
have gone back. Most have gone
Yeah.
back.
Oh, that's
you know,
just horrible.
we have the privilege.
But that's
yeah.
what it is. But I also, just to like make you laugh, I think about it with my second pregnancy, I got a little smart and I started taking like not car service, the expensive one, but you know, app car service.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I remember one driver, I got in the car, I was very pregnant. He goes, "Your husband let you go to work like this?"
Like,
And I was like, "Are you like spitting game at me, or are you like shaming my husband, or maybe both at the same time?"
Right. Right.
But although maybe you're not trying to get this pregnant woman, but but I do remember being like, yeah,
It
this
could have
the-
been a
the-
like,
the
how are you
world-
doing it?
The world of that we have to juggle, regardless of how supportive our partners are. Like, we are going to make money. Many of us.
Well, because nowadays, how could you?
Very
I mean, it's
big.
very rare
I
that you can
mean-
live on one income. I mean,
Not-
it's
not-
just-
Look at the
2025.
look at
Not for me.
eggs. I don't even eat eggs no more. I don't like eggs.
I know I
I
haven't
was
had
listening to
I
that
haven't
this
had
morning.
eggs.
Eggs.
Do you have
I
an
haven't
egg
had
shortage?
in weeks. No, I'm just kidding. I did have an omelet. Thank you. The hotel omelet was great.
No, but that's how crazy things are getting.
Things
That
are
like,
crazy.
what's an alternative to eggs? Because stuff is just too pricey. But how do you do that? Like,
Yeah.
how do you juggle
It's a lot.
going back to work? I mean, in a field like yours, it's how do you work from home? You need to be with your patients.
I had anxiety when
Yeah.
I went back to work
Mhm.
because I was still pumping,
Mhm.
and you know it's just impossible to have a good pump schedule. You know,
Yeah.
doing what
Yeah.
I do,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and yes, Hobart is very supportive, but I want to go back to the point where mostly everything is on the woman,
Yeah.
and you know it's dangerous out here. You
Mhm.
know, there's things that happen to our bodies that in the textbook it says it should go back to normal, just like your feet.
Okay.
Right? You
Yeah.
know, my
the
foot,
swelling
like
or the
grew
bloating.
a half size. Okay, yeah. My arches flattened. Okay,
Mm.
you got fatter, whatever. Okay. But it's supposed to go back, right?
Mm.
But no.
Not always.
Areolas
Oh,
areolas
the
are
areolas
supposed
of it
to
all.
go back to normal.
I've heard
to regular
sometimes they
size.
don't.
And they don't. And that's how
Oh.
we know, you know, a woman who's had
kids,
children
yeah.
because the areola is bigger than the boob itself. Like these little things may sound small.
So scary.
But these
yeah,
are like
no.
things that you have to think about when you're just out here shopping around trying to get pregnant by whoever. Like your
Right.
body will not be the same. Your mind
Yeah.
won't be the same. So I try to tell my patients like pregnancy is like people die.
Yeah.
And
It's a real
please
thing.
choose wisely
Mhm.
who you decide
Mhm.
to have a child with
Yeah.
because this isn't a game.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know?
So much changes and you can't. It's not a just I just want to be a parent for the sake of it. Like you
Yeah.
said,
But I hear it
changes
a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you think it's a society thing that it's like women just, it's another tick off the list? Like, like, okay, at this age, I want to do this and I want to be married by this age. And
I
like,
asked myself that
yeah.
about heart. Like, did I just want him to check a box?
Yeah.
Or did I really want him to pass on life experience?
Mm-hmm.
Pass on what I've learned. And I think that came from my mom guilt, where I was
Yeah.
asking myself this question
Mhm.
Yeah.
because I still was making decisions for myself. So the 5th year is really where I made decisions for the family. And I thought it was settling,
Yeah.
but I actually was settling into Kendra 2.0.
Yes.
Kendra's
So
the
once
mom
I am settling. I'm settling into that I'm a mom.
Mhm.
I married a doctor. His hours are horrible.
Yeah.
So sometimes I am a single mother. And
Mhm.
sometimes he's a single dad. Like,
Yeah.
so, this is where the disadvantages of being in a 2-doctor household is that,
Yeah.
that me and Hobart are experiencing. And I'm like, damn,
Yeah, I can't imagine the schedule shifts
It's
with that
just
too. Like
crazy.
nothing's ever set in stone like a regular. Like, do you ever feel like I'm just not like a regular 9 to 5 person, and
Well,
we can't have that? But that would be
I
tough.
I was praying for an institution that would support. There has to be some support for
Mhm.
moms who are OB-GYNs. A lot of my colleagues, they have like their in-laws living in.
Yeah.
My parents are young enough to be like, no, not doing
Right,
it.
not yet. Yeah.
And so
It's like that's a luxury to have your parents come and move in and take over that.
but these jobs, they're not making it mommy friendly. And I've told people who were in hiring positions for major hospitals,
Yeah.
I would ask, is there part-time?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because again, did I just have heart to have him, or did I have him to spend time with him and learn from him and
Mhm.
evolve into the woman that God wants me to be
Mhm.
by putting me and him together?
Yeah.
In the relationship of I'm his mother and he's my
Mhm.
son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
I
Yeah.
understand all of that, but I mean, just thinking about it, I mean, you are a medical doctor. You have trained, you have done years and years of education to get to this point. And then to feel like you're at that moment of reflection where it's sort of like the cobbler with no shoes. You're like,
Mhm.
I've done all this to get to this place to bring all these other beautiful, healthy babies into the world, but then to feel like you don't have enough to give to the one that you brought in
Ooh, that was deep.
to the world.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
But it's that struggle. And I think the Kendra 2.0 gives me hope because I feel like I've been there myself, where you get to bring these divergent identities of who you are: Kendra the mom, Kendra the doctor, Kendra the daughter, Kendra the friend.
Mhm.
And they can start to eventually, not right away, or at least certainly not for me right away, but they can start to come together a little bit. These identities of who Kendra is
Oh my
and
God, I
will
feel
be.
like
Yeah.
crying. My period. I'm waiting on my
Well,
period to come.
Girl, like the
But-
hormones are real.
But Jen,
Yeah.
you are we are meeting in person at a time where I am only allowing and saying yes to the Kendra 2.0.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I love women's health.
Yeah.
I love being an OB-GYN. It's the most fun job. Yes, it's hard. It's very hard, but it's so rewarding. And I want that. And I want to be a mom, a stay-at-home. I want
yeah,
it
you
all.
want it all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I just really picked, and I couldn't have it all, but I picked what I like most about the job.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, which is helping women,
Mhm.
optimizing women's health. And I just said, okay, I can't have it all, but I can still have a little bit of this.
Mhm.
But I am going to rush home to talk to
Yeah.
Hart, see what he has to
Mhm.
say.
I love that.
He tells me I'm beautiful like every day. What do you have to say?
Isn't
Yeah.
that
Do-
nice?
Do you
That
like
is
the
sweet.
bang baby?
Yeah.
You know?
He-
What-
He's your little boyfriend.
He's a cheerleader.
Like
Yeah.
it or not. Like I asked
Mhm.
my 5-year-old the other day, I said, "Do you have a girlfriend?" And he looked at me and he pointed at me and he was like, He was like, I think it's you. And I was like, we'll talk.
Yeah, there's definitely a special bond between a boy
Yeah,
and a mom,
yeah,
and the
totally.
boy being very soft with the mother and always making sure she feels good. And
Totally, all that. But
Mhm.
let me, I just have to rewind a little bit
Okay,
and
sure,
kind of share a little
sure.
bit about how we met and how, Dr. Kendra, I first came to know you from the Bravo show, Married to Medicine LA.
yeah,
I mean, first of all, so my mom was a doctor. Yeah,
okay.
so like, seeing Black female doctors just like running the show, to me that was very empowering and familiar to see.
Familiar.
It was
Wow.
familiar. And I would love what was that like for you? Like, how did you even come into that experience? And also specifically, I want to know, I feel like you had just recently had Heart
Oh my God.
when you filmed that show. So I'd love to just
Yes.
know first
Yeah.
kind of how did you end up on that platform? And then what was it like filming as a postpartum mom?
Right. I mean, that was probably one of the most tired I've ever been. Like
Really?
it's real tiring. So they reached out through my Instagram.
Uh-huh.
And it's so funny because I trained in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And so like everyone was like, you know what, you're gonna move back to your hometown. You should be on like Married to Medicine LA. I'm like, they don't have that yet. But my
Yeah.
friends were
Mm.
like, you're crazy. We need to know what's going on. Okay, we're gonna miss you in Hobart. Da 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 da. So my friends started like just saying Married to Medicine LA. I'm like, they don't even have a Married to Medicine LA.
Mm-hmm.
Then one of the producers like slipped into my DM and I
Yeah.
thought it was like fake,
Yeah.
right? Because my friends were just talking about it.
Yeah.
There's no LA Married to Medicine.
Like,
I'm like,
nice
are
try.
you serious?
Yeah, because everyone knows the Atlanta Marriage to
Yeah,
Medicine, which has
right.
been on
Yeah.
like at least 10 seasons.
I mean,
at
Yeah.
this
they're
point.
going strong.
They're going
They're
strong.
going pretty
Mhm.
strong.
Yeah, shout out to Dr. Simone. Love her.
Shout out to Dr. Jackie.
Okay, and Dr. Jack. We cannot our two OB-GYNs. We cannot. We love them both.
Mhm.
And so I just responded
Yeah.
Yeah.
once, right? And that was like for season 1. I was working full time at that point for a major company, and it was just we weren't able to film.
Okay.
So I don't know. I just didn't take it seriously. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. And so I'm moving on with my life. And then I got to a point where timing, so that's how I ended up on the show because timing was perfect.
Mm.
So I quit.
Mm.
Probably in the beginning of my pregnancy, I quit working for
Wow.
several months because I was bleeding. I was high risk pregnancy.
Mm.
And so I had to make a huge decision. Again, men, they don't have these career setbacks.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have to take all these hits. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah.
And so they caught me right at the time where I really wasn't working. And
Meant
I
to
was
be.
getting ready to start back to work. So I
That
think
transition period.
window, they caught me. And then we were moving because we came from a small apartment. So we were moving, just had a baby, and now I have all these cameras following me
Wow.
constantly.
And you felt like
Wow.
I don't have
Constantly.
enough to do. I'll join a reality show.
Right.
I mean, but
Not
it
enough on my
was-
list.
People always ask me, is it real?
Yeah.
And I tell people,
Like, is it
I said-
scripted?
I said, you know what? Real life is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, you might, try to put on whatever you're trying to put on for the cameras. But that falls apart
Quickly, right?
because
Mhm.
they
Mhm.
are watching you brush your teeth.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Do you forget they're
watching-
there at some point? You
You
just
don't
go about your
care
life.
that they're
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do,
I've
do you
heard
understand?
that. Yeah.
Like you
Mhm.
don't care.
Yeah, like you said at the beginning, you might try to sit up right, but at some
Right,
point
you
you're
know,
like you forget they're there,
And
you're
then
like,
you're
"Ugh."
just,
You're
and I gotta
chilling.
tell, you know what I mean? Like
Yes,
Hobart
your-
has
Your
the heart to heart.
representative goes away.
You know,
and, you're,
and it's
Yeah.
like,
with you.
until you watch it back and you're like, oops.
Yeah.
So
I was
for
being
me,
really real.
so I can only speak for myself. So
Mhm.
Yeah.
for me in Hobart, that was sincere. That's who I am.
Yeah.
I'm probably even worse than that. And they made a nice edit, which I appreciate
Okay.
it. But it was so much more that happened
Yeah.
that I think women could relate to.
Okay.
Mhm.
Like something that wasn't shown? you
Yeah,
mean?
just
Okay,
the
like-
way it
Like
was.
what?
Just arguments that
Mhm.
occurred,
Mhm.
disagreements,
Yeah.
the definition of friendship.
Mm-hmm.
I had some
Mhm.
good conversations,
Yeah.
and you just get edited in a certain way. But I think that adult women
Mhm.
friendships are important,
Mhm.
and we need to know who we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So
I need to
important.
know, who are you?
Mhm.
Because I don't know you,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I'm grown,
Yeah.
and I've never been that girl that goes back and forth.
Mhm.
Do you know what I
Mhm.
mean? I don't
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so dealing with women relationships, which I think people
hard.
underestimate, we need good girlfriends.
We need
Yeah.
good
We-
girlfriends.
We need support. I'm
You're
wearing on
right.
my neck right now all the support I have. So I
Yeah,
all
have
the
my
girls.
god sister,
Beautiful.
I have Jesus, and I have my day 2. So
Aw.
sometimes we wear things
Yeah.
to remind us that we do have a village, we do have a backing. And I
Mhm.
think that the audience, the people watching us, they missed out on that.
Mm.
You know,
Okay.
and
Through
too
the
bad.
edits, yeah.
Yeah, too bad, because we all could relate to it. Like I
Mhm.
said, for me, I was just 100,000% who I am.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Can I share something very
Sure.
honest with you? I remember watching that season where you came into the cast, and you came in on season 2,
Season
right?
2, yes.
Mhm.
And I may have even been on mat leave when it came on. I'm not really sure, but I know because our sons are around the same age. I remember watching you and you were postpartum, and I remember there was some storyline or rhetoric around what you should or shouldn't be wearing after like
postpartum?
postpartum,
Okay.
like
Yeah.
after having a baby.
Yeah.
And as a woman who's had 3
Yeah.
kids,
Mhm.
we've talked about it, Sasha.
Yeah.
Like, your body changes.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I can
if
only imagine.
you as a woman you're already sensitive
Yeah.
about the fact that you were now maybe looking at a body that looked different than before
And I
you
have
were
a
pregnant.
story. You guys want to hear the behind the story of that?
Because that story that stuck with me because I remember watching it feeling like, how dare they?
Right. But as an OB-GYN,
Yeah.
I expect that conversation.
Really?
Okay. Yeah.
So it doesn't
it
bother me.
didn't bother
I was
you.
doesn't bother me.
my honest truth is that I was deeply offended by that.
A lot of
Yeah.
people were. And a lot of people DM'd me,
Yeah.
and they really
Reached
didn't
out
Yeah,
thinking
a lot
that
of
you're
people,
probably
a lot
feeling
of
the-
women.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I expect that conversation. So
Mhm.
just to show you how women have to make an adjustment.
Mhm.
So that was the first time that I went out after having a baby. So can you imagine?
Your first outing
my
in a totally
first-
new body, just gave life to,
And
like
I didn't
just-
even realize the body
Yeah.
change. So I'm going
Yeah.
in, what am I going to wear? What can I
Right.
fit into?
Yeah.
And that
Wow.
outfit that I wore looks really different on me before heart.
Okay.
But my mind wasn't caught up
Mm-hmm.
to, okay, now my skin is attenuated. Now this fupa has increased.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't catch up because in my mind,
You're
you know,
still that girl
I'm like,
from
okay, let me
before.
wear this.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
And then, okay, yeah, I saw, okay, you know what? The gut's hanging a little bit. You know, the C-section's healing. You know, my
Mhm.
uterus is tightening up.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm okay with
Yeah.
my body.
Yeah.
You know, I'm okay with it.
And you were
Yeah.
beautiful, by the way, which I think
Thank
was
you.
also
Yeah.
why I think it was hard to watch that any conversation about it because there were other mothers who were making comments. I'm like, what are you
well,
talking
because
about?
it's just like, don't you feel that gut?
Yeah.
Don't you feel that air? No, I haven't caught up yet.
Yeah.
This is my first time out. I'm
Mhm.
breastfeeding every whatever hours.
Mhm.
I'm prepared to do a pump and dump.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm gonna drink some alcohol. I'm gonna
Yeah.
key with some professional women.
Yeah, and
So
I got up
I
off
was
the
so
sofa to
excited.
come do this. So
Yeah.
that's
right?
the biggest beat.
yeah,
Like,
I'm
I'm
with my
leaving
child
the
for
house.
this. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
but I looked forward to it because I think at that point, I think Hart was 4 months or something.
You're like, I need this.
And I needed
Yeah.
it. And so I think that the emotions were high
Mhm.
because it was my first time out. Like
Yeah.
I was looking forward to, hey, what's up?
Yeah.
This
A night
this, and
without
that.
baby.
You know? But of course I know my
Mhm.
gut was jumping up and down because when I was running to, you know, a lot of stuff was off camera, but when I was running toward a
You felt
certain member, I felt it go up and down as I was running.
Not the gut jumping up
So,
and down.
so yeah,
gut.
I'm like, you know, my gut's gonna get you before I do. Watch it. Like, do you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
so of course, but I'm like, I'm the kind of person, I just make the best of it.
Mhm.
The
Okay.
gut's
I
hanging,
love that about
Yeah.
you.
but I'm still gonna.
But I'm
Yeah.
out here.
I'm
I'm
out.
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah.
Hubby is with the baby.
Yes.
Let's go. Let's rock. What are we
That's what
drinking?
we're
Yes. I
celebrating.
love the confidence though, because a lot of women, sometimes you probably would feel it. I've seen it with my friends where they get a little down, like, you know, things of, like you said, my feet are bigger,
Yeah.
stuff's not fitting the way, and it doesn't look as good as it did, but
man.
that's okay.
Man.
Do you rock it? Feel your new self and just own it.
Right.
Mhm.
And so, but that was the topic. Sure, running and seeing the gut, you know, go up and down. I mean, sure, people who don't know you or no one really cares. Okay, when you're fat. Okay, I'm using the word fat. I'm just gonna use plain words here.
You're amongst your
Okay.
friends here.
Yeah.
So when you're fat, no one cares why.
Mm-hmm.
No one cares why.
Mhm.
No one cares. You may be having extra pounds because you might be on some medicine. You might have a
Right.
health condition.
Mhm.
You might be going through IVF treatments.
Mhm.
You may
Right.
be doing different things, but no one cares. All we see is, oh my God, how's
You
your
put on-
marriage? Like
Yeah.
you're
What's wrong
really
with
getting
you?
big
Like,
right now. Like
mhm.
how's Hobart feeling about that?
Mm.
Do you know what I mean? And I
Wow.
think that sometimes as women, we try so hard to connect with each other that we are
Yeah.
connecting through negativity.
Yeah.
Right?
That's very true.
Like I see this person,
Mm-hmm.
but I can't relate as much as I would like to. But you know what? She's humongous. She doesn't belong in a midriff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Put a t-shirt
Yeah.
on. What do you,
Yeah.
what, how
Mhm.
dare you? The audacity.
The
Mhm.
the
The
expectations are just it's so harsh sometimes because on go from, oh my God, you have the pregnancy glow, you're
Mhm.
glowing, mama. Like and
I
you and
definitely was glowing.
were you?
I mean, Hart had me beautiful. People
Yeah.
would
I know
tell me that I'm beautiful. Like,
Is it because he was a boy? I've heard you look
Yes.
glowy if it's a boy,
Yeah.
and you look
Dusty.
really exhausted and
Yeah.
Oh,
dusty
not
if it's a
dusty,
girl.
not dusty.
Not
Shout out-
dusty.
Shout out to the girl moms out there.
yeah.
I mean, you're.
But
these-
I've seen that on social all
Yeah.
the time. Like they say it's a thing.
have
I,
you-
I didn't know it until I lost the glow. Like when I started breastfeeding, I
Yeah.
said, "Oh my God, I look grayish, dusty color."
It-
I said,
went
"Oh
away.
my God, I did have a glow."
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and is there something? I mean, because we have an MD on the,
Yeah.
on the couch,
Testosterone.
it's testosterone.
Think
Really? So
so?
that's what causes the glow? The incremental testosterone from the boys.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's medically proven.
Yeah.
So have boys. So you have a glow.
I
That's
mean-
the hack.
You know, Hobart's happy.
Okay.
I thought I was
Yeah.
having a girl the whole time.
Did you? Your instinct was telling you, girl?
You know, and I did the
Did you-
ultrasound. I saw the penis, but it just didn't.
You did your own
I did my
ultrasound.
own.
Oh,
You
that's
know.
fun.
You wanna
Yeah.
know.
You want to know.
And I saw it, the darn thing, and we don't see with our eyes, we see with our brain.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Nope.
I'm having a girl. I just, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so all those wife tells, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Okay, so the pregnancy glow is real. So confirmed. I was pretty glowy through my pregnancies too. So okay,
Mhm.
that's confirmed.
Yeah.
And but then back to what we were talking
Yeah.
about, just to bring it all full circle.
Yeah.
You go from like everyone being like, "Oh, you're glowing, girl, you're glowing," to like, when are you going to bounce back? And it's just that's a lot to hold in,
Yeah.
from in 60 days time. Like
Yeah.
the expectation is a lot.
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
definitely a
and
lot.
for me, and depending, like, okay, so my grandma, God bless her, she passed away from COVID.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry.
so
sorry.
a lot of people don't know, but I'm half Asian. I'm half Vietnamese. And so
Yay.
day 2,
Mhm.
post-op day 2 of my surgery, my grandma, Boye, she hits me in my incision and says, "Suck it in." Like, you know,
Mm.
like, and I was like, oh my God. I said, like
Her-
I had surgery.
Yeah.
But that is like the expectation
In
is
her
like,
culture,
like,
that you need
snap
to
it
keep
back.
Yeah.
like, what are you
Yeah.
doing? And I'm like, I have no control. But
Mhm.
oh my
I was
goodness.
laughing, and of course, she didn't mean to hurt me.
Yeah.
But that's the thinking. Like, if you keep getting bigger, your man is going to leave you.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh,
And
totally.
so-
Especially in the Asian community being,
Yeah, they're gonna-
being
and I said, you know
mixed
what?
and- Yeah.
Well, then he just has to leave me.
Yeah.
Because I can't worry about that. Like, I'm trying to make sure heart is
He's going to love me
alive
for
here,
me or not.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's where that, like, the pressure
Yeah.
of the snapback.
It's
and
hard
the
when you feel the
lies.
pressure in society, but in your own circle or in your own home, like that's tough to deal with.
being fat in my household,
Yeah.
that's like,
It was a no-no.
It's a
You
no-go.
don't do that. Yeah.
it's a no-go. And I was going to say something else to tie it back.
But no, it's okay. So did you feel the pressure differently from your Asian side of your family than your black side of your family?
Yes.
Yeah?
You did.
Yeah.
And so what was your black family telling you?
That I look good.
Do you?
Good
Yeah,
slim and
I
tea
can
on the
imagine
end.
you look. They thought you looked great.
Like, you're breastfeeding, you're lactating.
You're doing what
Yeah.
you're supposed to be
You
doing.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
and on my Vietnamese side, it's and Hobart's Asians in general.
Mhm.
It's like, why are you this big? Why are you
Okay,
this
yeah,
huge?
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's
Okay.
so
Asian community too are they keep a lot in. So like if you're struggling or you're going through things, it's put a smile on, you'll be okay, and just don't express yourself. Don't.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's
Exactly.
very prevalent in
Okay.
the Asian
so
community.
you guys have that in common. Both
Yes.
Being of
Oh
Asian
yeah,
backgrounds.
very much so.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
my
are you-
grandma always had
What are you,
lipstick
Are you
on, and
Filipino? What's your-
I'm Malaysian, half
Malaysian.
Malaysian.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah. So I
okay.
feel that. But my grandma had 6 kids, and there was always mayhem. But she was just always so put together. Red
Mm.
lipstick on, jewelry
Mhm.
in the house, doesn't work or doesn't do anything. But she looked put together at
God
all
bless her.
times.
God
Like
bless her.
I've never not seen her with red lipstick. When she was paralyzed before she passed, she was paralyzed, and somehow she would find someone to get her red lipstick because she'd be in that
Priorities.
bed,
Her.
can't move, but
Mhm.
her red lipstick is on. So that's how you can kind of feel it's just that's what they want to put out. And so if you're owning the like, I'm okay being frumpy, I'm okay feeling my feels, it's just not a common thing for them to accept.
I mean,
to see that.
There's definitely cultural norms that I think are really interesting, especially as you go through these big life
What is your
transitions.
background?
I'm Black, as I like to. I'm Black, from the South. Families from the South.
Okay, I thought you were Asian too, or something.
No,
Or did I make that up?
Is it these tracks?
No, it's you have features. I think your sons have. They look mixed, don't
my
they?
sons,
I think her sons look
my
mixed.
sons look like they've got a little something.
Asian in there. I think
it's like must be back in the day, but
But that's where I was thinking when I looked at
because of my boys.
like, is there something?
And I'm like,
and
oh my God, I forgot.
Yeah, no, but Black is what I claim.
Okay.
Anyway, all right. So no, I think that cultural norms are definitely a thing, and I think when you go through this transition, these big life transitions, whether it's a wedding, whether it's having kids, I think some of those cultural norms start to show themselves.
They do.
Good, bad, or indifferent. And we take the things that serve us, right, and the things that might feel a little bit old school that don't serve modern day. We have to pick and choose. Right. Yeah. But one thing I really want to make sure that we get to, Dr. Kendra, because, oh my God, we could talk all day.
I know.
So another opportunity where I had the pleasure and honor of working with you was when we were putting together some amazing content in the name of Black maternal health.
Oh, yes, I remember.
We know that Black women are at risk and have different adverse conditions when it comes to, their morbidity rates.
Yes.
When they deliver babies. And there's a healthcare system that we need to, implore all of the providers from us, from the hospitals from an administrative side down to the actual healthcare providers, to make sure that our Black women are cared for. So it was so powerful for me to be able to be in conversation with you about that. And I know that you've worked in community health settings.
Yes.
Literally here in the community of Los Angeles. And I would just like to hear from you just overall, whether it's pregnancy, whether it's, health conditions that impact your community. How important is it for you to be a part of that advocacy?
The advocacy is my purpose. And so, my life, I've done a lot of different things. And when the story is being written, I can see how everything that I've done has led me to this moment.
Yeah.
And so I love public health. I worked for LA County some time ago. And I started going on social media, trying to educate people, because I started to realize the women that keep their well woman exams, that do their screenings, those, they don't need me. It's the people that are not tuning into any health podcasts, that are not able to get me.
I like that angle.
You know what I mean?
I'm talking to the ones that aren't maybe thinking of that.
No, not at all. But if they just see me in their feed, I'm like, oh, okay, you know what? I do need to do that. I do need to keep up with my appointments. And to my disappointment, we have a long way to go.
Yeah.
As far as healthcare in America and not overlooking Black women. And I do want to say this, women in general. And this is where I started Ask Dr. Kendra. It's a concierge integrative approach to health, where I optimize your health, whether if it's aesthetically, to optimizing your health for pregnancy, postpartum, or where we're navigating perimenopause and menopause. So I curated that because I want you to curate your own doctor experience. So if you want an hour, if you want 30 minutes, whenever you want, I want you to have that power that you actually have someone that you can trust. Because if the team doesn't know the answer, we're going to find the answer. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And so that this space is a space for women, because if you look at our counterparts, where they measure for white women, they are dying at alarming rates as well compared to other first world countries. So it's women in general, but then of course the graph looks really bad when we're talking about Black mothers. And so unfortunately that didn't improve with implicit bias training. So now as a physician or a physician adjacent, you have to do implicit bias training. So they just did a study to see, did it improve, for the last 3 years?
The rate.
And the rate for white women did improve. And sadly, the Black, it went reverse. So
it got worse.
It got worse.
For Black women.
It got worse.
Even with all the awareness now about
the training, the mandatory training that you have to do.
The mandatory training, it got worse.
Yeah. And some people, So I've been around colleagues that are like, why do I have to do this bullshit?
Mm.
You know what I mean? And so even myself, um, each race, there's stereotypes, right? Until it doesn't apply to you, right? But even myself, when it's 3 a.m. in the morning, someone's just coming in with generalized abdominal pain. Okay. Okay, now you're calling GYN. Okay, most of the time when that scenario happens, maybe something's happening at home. Okay.
Right.
But so maybe I know the situation already. She hurts everywhere. It's really her relationship. She wanted to get out the house, whatever, whatever. People do that.
Okay.
But sometimes I have to say, hey, where are you hurting?
Yeah.
You really want this ultrasound?
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I'm going to give it to you. I don't agree with it. But let me give that to you because a part of health is mental health. If you're
Yeah.
up at night, insomnia, thinking you have an ovarian cyst,
Yeah.
I can help
let me
you with
clear
that.
your mind with
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
I
I
know
can
you
help you
probably
with that.
don't, but let me ease your
Exactly.
anxiety, ease your,
And that's treating the patient versus, following the rules.
Yes.
Because I
Yes.
see that this person is anxious. Maybe she's perimenopausal. That's
Yeah.
another. Okay, so she
Yeah.
is dead set
Yeah.
that she needs imaging, even
Yeah.
though I disagree because everything's normal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let me do it. So I've learned to
So
treat
there's a
here.
lot of psychology.
Oh my
in-
God.
in-
That's connected
it's
to
not
our
just
womb.
Yeah.
That's connected
Yeah.
to our ovaries. It's
Mhm.
all connected.
It's
Yeah.
so true, but also you don't want it to be that one time where you think you're following the rules and then there is that exceptional situation where something goes
Yeah.
wrong. And I mean, it is not lost on me that being a physician is a hard job. It's a high burden. And one of my friends told me something that like really sat with me, and she said, "Jen, it's called the practice of medicine for a reason."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Practice.
and she said that there's not always a definitive absolute answer in the moment
Amen.
just because you want it
Yeah.
as the
yeah.
patient
I
or
agree
as
with
the
that,
mother of
doctor.
the patient.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she wasn't even a doctor.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
was a former a marketing executive who was formerly a pharmacist
Yeah.
and whose parents were doctors, and she was just like, and my son was going through a very serious health situation at the moment,
Okay.
and was in the hospital for 10 days. It was
Okay.
crazy.
Okay.
And we wanted answers naturally. I'm the mama bear.
Right.
And we were not getting answers quickly. They were lovely, but I was like, what's the answer? And she was
Right.
like,
Yeah.
Jen, it's the practice of medicine.
Yeah.
And that is what you guys are going through right now.
Ruling out.
Ruling out. We are
yeah.
ruling out.
Yeah.
We had every specialist, every
Yeah.
$700 an hour person coming in who was going through the ruling
Yeah.
out practice of medicine.
I like
And,
the compassion you talk about
yeah.
part of it, because sometimes it's women gut, like, I know I have something wrong.
Mhm.
And every doctor you see is, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine. And to be told, just go home and just stop with
Yeah.
this. Like, sometimes it's nice to hear someone like, I will help you figure it out.
Yeah.
I'll be compassionate that I know 99% it's not that, but we'll do what makes you feel like.
And this is where I check my implicit bias.
Yeah.
So when there's a patient that I've noticed is hot potato,
Mhm.
meaning, we physicians kind of play hot potato.
Yeah.
Because no one wants to claim that person. I make myself, I do a check-in. Like, you know what? Just look at her,
Yeah.
hear her story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's me, because I have implicit bias as well. Okay.
Mhm.
There's no pain. No, you cannot be on disability, whatever you're thinking about.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I just have to say, Kendra, you know what? She's taking the time. She's going to all these doctors. Okay. Either she has a mental condition that's unaddressed, or she really has pain that's unaddressed, and we need to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I'm with that, me having implicit bias and me having to do that check-in, it's going to be a long time for the hospital system to kind of untrain ourselves to see that Black women have pain. So
Yeah.
many times my patients come back to me, they had a C-section unscheduled, because
Yeah.
something went wrong,
Emergency.
and they got no narcotic being discharged.
Mhm.
Just go deal with the pain.
Motrin, and they have
Yeah.
a huge, are you kidding me?
Wow.
Like, are you kidding me? And so
And like, where's the compassion? Like, put yourself
There's
in
no
their
compassion.
shoes, like, how would you feel if that is happening to
Because
you?
there's often this myth that Black women should be able to tolerate pain in a way that white women shouldn't. That we are just these superhuman.
Well, because we are
people.
at work in pain.
Yeah.
We are
and
at
do.
we
You're
are
showing up
living
when you're in
Yeah.
pain.
in
Yeah.
pain, and that's
Mhm.
another problem. And so one point I do want to make clear is that while the healthcare system is working out the kinks on
Mhm.
this discrimination,
Mhm.
us as a community, I want us to stop keeping secrets. Meaning that I notice in my community, denial is strong. I have one of the most strongest denial in the world. So I know about denial. I know about being a little delulu. But as a community, as a friend, this is where you come in and say, hey, you know what? It's time for you to go to the doctor.
Mhm.
It's not
Mhm.
cute that you keep eating ice and you're always cold.
Yeah.
Oh, it runs in my family. Okay, anemia isn't normal.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
go to the doctor. Okay,
Yeah.
you know what? I like this girl. She's a little crazy, but she is detailed. Dr.
Mhm.
Segura. Why don't you, you know,
Yeah.
call, make an appointment. Make an
Yeah.
appointment with someone. And so I think that in our community, we live in this shroud of secrecy.
Mhm.
And by that, we're adding to the denial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to tap into our resources. We may have little resources, but they're there.
Mhm.
And so I urge everyone, hey, if you know a doctor, if you know a police officer, if you know a teacher, you may think your kid has autism, call that person.
Yeah. Talk
You
to them.
talk to them.
Yeah. It's okay to. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I
Mm.
agree, and I think even
Okay.
someone hearing this, if this is just the wake up call for
Mhm.
us to start talking to each other, so that we can
Yeah.
then have the conversations, book the appointments, ask the questions.
Yeah.
Let's.
And
Yeah.
not be embarrassed about it. Like,
Yeah.
Jen, if there's something going on with you
Yeah.
and it happens to be in my field,
Yeah.
or even not, I can say, hey, let me find out. Let's see what's going on.
Yeah.
It's okay to run things by
Yeah.
each other, but we
Yeah.
don't do that enough. And I don't know if it's just that, just pull up your socks and what did they say? Suck it in?
Yeah.
Suck it in.
Whatever, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Suck it in.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally get that. But I have to ask you one more thing before we move on to
Sure.
our segment, this or that, which
Okay.
we're going to get to next.
Okay.
But in your Ask Dr. Kendra concierge, you also mentioned that there's another side of healthcare. So let's say you get through the pregnancy, you get through, the stuff that you need to do. It sounded like there were a couple fun things in there, like postpartum moments, sort of some cosmetic opportunities for us to kind of do a little zhuzhing. Is that
Yes.
something that you also offer through
Yes.
Ask Dr. Kendra?
Yes, absolutely. Because sometimes we need help.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, after having a baby, if you're breastfed, depending on your age, depending on your medical background, you may find it harder to snap back. And I'm not
Mhm.
talking
Yeah.
about
Mhm.
the celebrity snapback. I'm not
Mhm.
talking about that. I'm talking about the healthy snapback.
Mhm.
And sometimes as we get older, okay, for some women, we have a hard time dealing with that decline in estrogen.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
so you may find it hard to lose weight. You may have stubborn fat.
Mhm.
You may realize that
And that's medical. That's nothing that you can do to fix that. Like
there is.
There.
And this
Yeah.
is the aesthetic. This is the fun
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, the fun
Weight
part.
loss medication.
Can you share some
stubborn
tips?
fat.
Like what are some of the things that you're offering your patients to help with some of the fun aesthetic,
Right.
the level up?
Okay.
I mean,
so-
and I'm asking for a friend.
well, okay. But the level up requires you to have energy. I
Okay.
tell my patients all
Oh.
the time that I have a high energy lifestyle and
Mhm.
I'm
Okay.
dragging.
Mhm.
So it started with myself. Like I can't just drag my way through life. You can't
Yeah.
enjoy anything.
Yeah.
So it starts with increasing
Like
your energy level.
Mhm.
Okay.
So getting lipo shots. Those are amino acids injections that help burn fat, help your focus, help you just really operate as a better self, because the role of amino acids is to keep cellular function going on.
Mm.
And so, yeah, I mean, I think we can do things like that. NAD. We can do things like IV fluids.
Mm.
If you have a little stubborn fat, it's okay to permanently remove it through, I call it liposuction in a syringe. It's okay to get that extra boost, because once you start feeling a little bit like yourself, then hand me my red lipstick.
Yeah, you're ready.
You
You're
know
ready
what
to
I
take
mean?
on the
Yeah.
world. The
Yeah.
chapter changes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
Mhm.
okay to get a boost.
Yeah.
And it's okay to want skin tightening. It's okay to have these things. I'm going to
Mhm.
definitely have my mommy makeover.
Yeah.
You know what I
Okay.
mean? I've earned
Okay.
it. And
Yeah.
I'm for women aesthetically. I love hair and makeup. That's why, you know, I have Hype Hair
Yeah.
beauty supply, and I love seeing a transformation of a woman. And all the time, I have not seen not one transformation physically that they didn't transform, like mentally.
Yeah.
I have
It's
never
all about the inside.
seen
It's
it.
not a vanity thing. It's your confidence. It's how you feel when you're stepping forward as your new self. It's an internal thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's why it's exciting for me to practice how I want to, as far as, you know, adding herbs, adding, you know, integrative, alternative medicine. And so Ask Dr. Kendra is a one-stop shop. And it's meant to be a place where if you need anything you need, it's kind of like I'm that Rolodex
Yeah.
for you to tap into whether it be health, professional. Because remember, doctor visits, sometimes we're just talking. You know what I mean? Like those
I wish more
women.
were like that. I feel like
It's
sometimes
catch
it's
me up.
like they're in a hurry, or they're
Yeah.
having like the nurse or somebody else, and you don't know who to describe your problem to, but you're like, can we just sit and chat first? Like, yeah.
And that's
missing
where
a lot.
Ask Dr. Kendra comes in.
I love it. Everything from preventative to like, let me optimize. And I
Yes.
think that's a perfect
Yeah.
place to leave
Yeah.
it. That is
Yeah,
so
for sure.
important. All right. So I think let's get into our this or that.
Yes,
Ooh,
let's
okay,
start.
what's up? What is it?
A
This
little
or that?
hot take, but you
Okay.
want you want
Yes.
some water,
Yes.
Dr. Kendra?
Yes,
Because
go for it.
you got to
Go
be
for it.
ready. So we
Yeah.
just want your honest response. Don't think about it too hard.
Yeah.
Don't think about it? Okay.
Yes, this is sort of a fun what would you rather.
Rapid fire.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
All right. You want me to do these, Jen?
Yep. you
Cool.
got it.
All right. So we're going to start with some motherhood questions. And this is a what would you rather? Would you rather a baby moon or a push present?
Push present.
Push present, yeah.
And what kind of push present do you want?
Mommy makeover.
Okay. all
there you
right.
go. Yeah.
She hasn't thought about this at all.
No. What was harder, Hart's first haircut or his first shots?
Haircut.
Haircut, yeah.
That took me out.
Yeah.
He handled
very
the shots
emotional.
like a soldier.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
He's around it. His parents are,
Yeah.
yeah. Daycare or nanny?
I had both.
Yeah.
Both. Nanny and daycare.
Mm-hmm. Sleep training or let it flow?
Let it flow.
Oh, see, I'm hearing a lot of the sleep training this week.
I was a
so
let
I
it
like the
flow.
let it flow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Homemade baby food or hand me a pouch?
Pouch.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my lifestyle.
Yeah.
You know.
It's
Yeah.
not
Pray.
unfortunately. They make
Pray.
those
Yeah.
pouches for a reason.
Pray that it doesn't have all those chemicals that
Yeah.
are going to get us.
You're doing your best, though.
Yeah.
All right. So, life and career, we're going to go into mom's night out. For a mom's night out, would
Okay.
you rather a club or a concert?
Concert.
Concert.
And who? Which concert?
What's the last
The
one
last
that you
one I
went
went to was the Juneteenth Kendrick Lamar.
Oh,
Yay.
that's a good one.
Shout out to Katura Baker. Thank you. Shout out to
Yes.
you. Thank
Yeah. And then the best way to unwind, do you prefer meditation or yoga? Or what's your other, I guess,
I
way
don't
to
know. I just
unwind?
feel like if I'm doing yoga, I'm going to meditate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
They're one and the same.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah. So,
Yeah.
so
Bit of both. Yeah.
yeah.
Fashion girl or beauty girl?
It's tough.
Yeah.
Fashion. I love
Fashion.
Okay.
All right. And then last one, next big splurge. Would you rather treatment or travel?
Travel. Right
Travel.
now. I'm in
yeah.
that.
You need a
Okay.
break.
You know,
yeah.
I need a break.
Mhm.
Travel.
Where would
that
you go?
was good. That was good.
Yeah. Travel.
Yeah.
Travel sounds good. Where are we going?
Mhm.
I think I'm going to go to Bali and just
Yeah.
All right.
sweat it out.
You got
and-
room for
Do
one
it.
more?
You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah.
Heart will be okay
Yes.
with his dad.
Yeah.
And yeah.
All right. Well, we're moving into parent truths.
All right. All
Okay.
right. We got two
Uh-oh.
more fun ones for
Okay.
you before
Yeah.
we wrap. So, Parent Truth is a segment that we do where we just like to prompt you with a fill in the blank
Okay.
and just say whatever comes to mind.
Mhm.
It's your raw, unfiltered, sort of fill in the blank response.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
before kids, self care meant blank. After kids, self care means second blank. We gave you an advanced one, two blanks, because you have a lot of degrees.
Okay.
So,
okay,
I
I'm
figured-
thinking
So I'll say it one more time.
Yeah.
Before kids, self care was
going shopping.
okay.
Oh.
And after
retail
kids, self care is
When he's fast asleep and I'm just watching true crime.
true crime.
Alone, quiet time.
Woo!
By the sounds of it. That
The
sounds
simple
nice.
things.
Simple things.
The
Laying in
simple
my bed.
things.
My husband bought me a mattress
Mm,
for my birthday
okay.
and best gift ever.
Okay, so we like a practical gift.
I guess after kids, by the sounds of
No, normally I like impractical.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think, gifts are supposed to be things that the person likes but wouldn't normally buy for themselves.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, that mattress, game
The
changer.
mattress must
Game
okay.
changer.
Will you send us a link?
Yeah.
Game changer.
Okay. Yes.
Amazing.
All right. And then just to close out, I mean, this has been so much fun, but you're such a multi-hyphenate, and just your accomplishments and the way that you are creating impact for the community, for your patients at large it's so impressive, Dr. Kendra. So thank you for all of that. But we like to close by just asking, what is the one trait that you hope Hart inherits from you?
Grit.
Right.
Grit.
Yeah.
That's what I hope he inherits. We read the Bible every night, children's Bible. So hopefully by watching my life and by some exposure, he'll have a relationship with God.
Yeah.
But like if I was gone, I want that kid to have grit, because grit really can help you overcome a lot of things.
All the challenges that life will throw you,
Yeah.
which it will.
Right, because you got to be able to curve with it,
Mm-hmm.
and you got to be able to dream big, and you got to be able to not be afraid to fail. And I don't want him to have some epiphany like if somebody dies. Like a lot of times
Yeah.
change comes because, something bad happens.
Mm-hmm.
I just want him to know that we only live once
Yeah.
and have some grit. It's okay if you fall down. It's okay,
Mhm.
but I want him to keep his laughter. We laugh a lot. I know like this is like a one answer question, but like keep laughing,
Yeah.
keep having fun,
Yeah.
but grit.
But grit.
But great.
Grit.
I love that.
I love that.
Okay.
Mhm.
Have
Thank you.
heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Kendra, thank you so much for joining us. I mean,
yeah, I don't want it to
like-
end, but
I know.
I know,
We
I
covered so
know,
many
I
topics
know.
that we might have to have a
But I want
three-part
to say
conversation.
this. It doesn't have to be on the thing. But
Yeah.
you know what, Jen? I have to say that I feel seen by you.
Oh, wow.
You know that? I think that I don't really connect. Like it's like I'm against myself. Like I'm a self-sabotager. So like I don't really connect with people like the way we connect. It's very few times. And I'm looking at you now. I'm like, why do I connect with her?
You're going to make me cry.
And I said, you know what? You just knew. I did the show. I just gave birth.
Yeah.
Like the guts hanging out. Then I'm working. I got overworked. I got long hauler syndrome. So that's why I do integrative approach, because it was me being so sick. I thought I couldn't work again. I thought I never could work as an OB-GYN again, having long haulers. And so I had to give myself Eastern medicine and Western to be here with you guys today. And I feel like you see all that. And to be seen in this fast-paced world,
it's hard to come by.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that's why I feel like that's your talent. I mean, I don't know, what you're doing, but between us, I feel that you see me without me
I do. I feel
kind of
like
having to explain myself. And
Well, I appreciate that, and I
Yeah.
feel that and receive it, because I, for whatever reason, literally feel the exact same way when I saw you on my screen, and then when I had the opportunity to recruit you to come work for the bump, it just felt like a relationship that was meant to be there, and this is just the beginning.
Yay.
and
Yeah.
thank
And I
you
love
for
you.
being
More of
part
this.
of that
Yeah.
tribe. And
Yeah.
it's scary being the things that humble me. I know you guys got to go. It's I say the 3 M's.
Yeah.
Okay, medicine, marriage, and motherhood.
Yeah.
Are things that are so humble. Like it will make you ask for help.
Yeah.
It will make you step outside your comfort zone
Mm-hmm.
and advocate.
Yeah.
Go to the doctor. I hate going to doctors.
Yeah.
It will make you get healthy, because
Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
be able to run around with him.
Yeah.
And it's forever changing.
Mhm.
It's a dynamic. Those 3 topics
Yeah.
are dynamic.
Yeah.
Right when you think you got the hang of it,
Yep.
a
Nope.
patient shows up and her anatomy is nothing like the book says.
Yeah.
Or right when I think that, okay, he's in daycare, I got it, we have a routine, now he starts school.
Yep.
Right.
Like
yeah.
you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Marriage, you have to change with your partner.
Whew.
It's
yeah.
it's
So
grit, it's resilience,
Mhm.
it's calibration, always on. Yeah, it's all those things.
Thank you for
Amazing.
having me.
Thank you for being
Love
here.
having you.
Thank you. Yeah.
You are incredible, and seriously, will you come back?
please.
I will come back
Okay.
anytime.
All right.
Anytime.
Well, definitely, we would
Anytime.
love to have you
Yeah.
back. This was amazing, Sasha.
There's no guide for this.
No
It's
guide for
there-
this.
No, nothing.
But there is an Ask Dr. Kendra, so that's one step closer.
Yes.
Thank you so much for
Yes.
joining us today, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.